Hi guys! Today I will be sharing how to make tiramisu cake my way. To begin, line your baking pan with parchment paper on the side and at the bottom. We need 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 tablespoon of instant coffee, 40 grams or 2 2.5 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of corn flour or cornstarch, 2/3 cup plus 2 tablespoon of plain flour, 60 ml of milk. This is fresh milk. 45 grams of melted butter, 6 eggs, and 1 cup of sugar. To begin, we're gonna combine the flour, the cornstarch, the 2 teaspoon of cocoa powder, and the salt. We gotta give it a mix, and then we will set this aside. We're gonna sift this later. Combine the milk, the vanilla, the instant coffee, give it a mix, and then finally add the melted butter. We're gonna mix this and then set this aside as well. Using a handheld mixer, we're gonna beat the eggs, and then we're gonna add the sugar. We're gonna beat this for about 3 to 5 minutes. I've got a pot of simmering water in here, and then I'm gonna place the bowl on top of the pot, and then I'm gonna mix. Occasionally lift up the bowl to release extra steam. After about 7 minutes, I'm gonna take this out of the heat, and then I'm gonna continue beating for about another 5 minutes. So after about 5 minutes, this is what the eggs look like. It, it reaches the ribbon stage. So now we're ready to sift in the dry ingredients. So I sift in my dry ingredients into additions, mixing using the folding method. Just remember not to overmix, or else the air from the eggs will be deflated. So at this point, I will add the liquid ingredients. Fold again. At this point, the batter is ready. We're gonna divide this into 2. And then we're gonna bake this in a preheated oven at 160 degrees Celsius for about 30 to 35 minutes. And this is what the cake looks like after baking. We're gonna let this cool down completely while we move on to the next step. So to make the coffee syrup, I added 1 tablespoon of instant coffee to half a cup of hot water, and then half a cup of sugar. We're gonna mix this, and then we're gonna heat this up in the microwave for about a minute, and then we're gonna let it cool down completely. This is 3/4 cup of icing sugar that I sifted, 600 ml of thickened cream, 500 grams of mascarpone cheese. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. And we're gonna need 1.5 teaspoon of coffee liqueur. This is Kahlua. If you don't wanna use Kahlua, you can just use vanilla. So in a bowl, I'm gonna add the coffee liqueur. I'm adding 1.5 teaspoon. And then to mix this, I'm just gonna use a whisk. And then I'm gonna add the 3/4 cup of icing sugar. Once it's well combined, we're just gonna set this aside. And then, using an electric beater, we're gonna beat the 600 ml of the whipping cream or thickened cream. Just like this. And then we're gonna fold the whipped cream into the mascarpone cheese. mixture. We're gonna add the whipped cream in 3 additions. And the cream is now ready. We're just gonna set this aside while we move on to the next step. So I'm cutting my cake in half. So we're gonna have 4 layers. We're now ready to assemble the cake. So we're gonna do the first layer. At this point, I made a mistake. I added the cream. I forgot to put the coffee syrup. So I removed the cream. And then now I'm gonna add the coffee syrup. So I'm just dabbing the coffee syrup here. Don't go crazy with the syrup. Just a little bit, because our cake is already have coffee on it. So now I'm adding the cream. And then using a spatula, we're gonna spread the cream. And now we're gonna add the second layer. Again, this time we're gonna add the coffee sugar syrup. Again, don't put a lot. And then the cream. And then the process is gonna be the same until we finish up 4 layers. Now we're on the last layer. I'm gonna put coffee syrup again. As you can see, I didn't use a lot of the coffee syrup, just enough to make the cake moist and add more coffee flavor. Now I'm gonna add cream on top, generously. Then just clean up the sides of the cake. Spread more of the cream. And then spread the cream on the top. Let the excess fall off the sides. Icing this cake doesn't need to be perfect because we're gonna put lady fingers on the side. So just add enough cream on the top and on the side of the cake. And now I've got eating chocolate. This is excess from Easter. I'm just grating this on top of the tiramisu cake. This will go under the cocoa powder. And now I'm gonna sprinkle cocoa powder. I use about 1 to 2 teaspoons of the cocoa powder. So I'm sprinkling that all over the top of the cake. And now, to finish the cake, I'm adding ladyfinger. This is optional. It's just for mostly for decoration. Now, this is just whipped cream. I'm putting swirls on the side top of the cake. And now I'm just adding chocolate alternatingly on the whipped cream. That is Easter eggs as well. And then this is sprinkles, just to put a little bit of color. All of these steps now are optional. And this is the finished product. I hope you give them a try. This one tastes a lot better after a day of making it. So this is the type of cake that you can make a day or two ahead. It tastes amazing after 2 days. And just to show you what it looks like when you cut the cake. This is so good. I can guarantee that you're gonna love this. And that's a close-up look of the cake inside. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!